Days since we closed down New York. I know it feels like a lifetime. I tell my daughters every day, it's only 18 days since everything closed down. It's 39 days since the first COVID case in New York. Feels like a lifetime. It's 80 days since we had the first COVID case in the United States. 80 days. Been an intense, life-changing 80 days, but that's what it has been. When we started this situation that we are still in the midst of, before people get complacent, the end of March, the White House task force, coronavirus task force, was still talking about 1.5 to 2.2 million deaths, okay? Their best case scenario with quote-unquote mitigation efforts was 100 to 240,000 deaths in the United States, which is breathtaking. For New York, there are a number of models that were put out that we are following. The most frightening was Columbia University that said we could have 136,000 people in New York City only who would be hospitalized, not infected. We had the McKinsey model, which suggested 110,000 people could be hospitalized statewide. We had a second scenario from McKinsey, which is 55,000 people hospitalized. And then the Gates Foundation, thank you very much, funded the IHME study, which said a high point of 73,000 statewide. Any of these scenarios are devastating for New York, because remember, we only have a 53,000 bed capacity system statewide, 36,000 beds in New York City. So any of these scenarios are problematic. Luckily, the current trend, if it continues, and if we continue the flattening of the curve, we're at about 18,000 people hospitalized right now. We've increased the capacity of the system dramatically. We have moved pieces around the state like never before. Our healthcare system has done a phenomenal job in doing an insurmountable task. Our federal partners, the Army Corps of Engineers, they have just really all done a great, great job. And our theory, and I believe my job as governor, prepare for the worst, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Now, we're at about 90,000 bed capacity in our overall system today, with everything we've done. Even the 90,000 beds, as you see, doesn't compare with the most problematic scenarios. 90,000 beds, we can handle the McKinsey moderate scenario. We don't make the McKinsey severe scenario at 110,000. I believe that 90,000, we have a plan to get to 110, converting dormitories, et cetera, but it would be a massive undertaking and a massive scramble. We do make the Gates-funded projection model. The Columbia University model, we can never, that would just be a nightmare. That is the one that keeps me up at nights, because you couldn't get anywhere near that projection. But all of the statisticians also said, look, we don't know how effective you can be at closing things down and social distancing, because we've never done it before. But they all said, that's the chance to so-called flatten the curve if you actually got people to comply with all these measures, and we have never seen it done before in this country, and we don't know if you can do it. So that is the big if in the equation, and that remains the big if in the equation. You can flatten the curve. We are flattening the curve by what we're doing, and we're flattening the curve so far. We should all be concerned, especially New Yorkers. Well, we're flattening the curve. That's good news. It is good news. well, now I can relax. No, you can't relax. The flattening of the curve last night happened because of what we did yesterday and the day before and the day before that. This is all a direct consequence to our actions. If we stop acting the way we're acting, you will see those numbers go up. And I show the projection models because we can't handle the worst case scenarios. We can't even handle the moderate case scenarios with all we've done. So it is essential that we keep that curve flattened because we don't have an option of handling the curve if it goes higher.